All right, let me actually...
Recording in progress.
Okay, well then that's not what I meant to do anyways. All right, what's going on everybody? It's your boy ABK, and thank you for checking out another one of my weekly Forex and crypto analysis. I do appreciate it. Let's go ahead and get things started, guys. So first things first, I'm just gonna go ahead and start straight off the bat. First things first, what we're gonna do is check out the, we're gonna go ahead and check out, see what the news looks like. We had a crazy week last week, in my opinion, in the markets. It was so volatile. I have not seen the markets that volatile in a very long time. Shout out to Donald Trump. No, I'm joking. I'm just playing. I love making that joke. Donald Trump with his tweets, man. But anyways, like I said, I have not seen the markets that volatile in a long time, and we have a lot of volatile or potentially volatile news this week. But I am not a fundamental analysis trader. I want to state that I usually am like, hey, how I am going to be really looking at, like, how I look at the markets is I look at what the type of news it is. Like when I look at rate statements or non-farm payroll or unemployment, then I pay close attention to that kind of stuff. But other than that, I don't really pay attention to the rest of the other news that happens. So, but let's go ahead and go over it. So Monday, we have the Australian dollar cash rate. Let me make sure that this one, Tuesday, and then we have RBA rate statement as well. Tuesday, 7:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. We have Canadian dollar news. Then we have GDP month to month with that. 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, we have the US dollar, and that is manufacturing PMI. 6:30, we have GDP, that's quarter to quarter. And we have OPEC JMMC meetings. This is for oil. So if you are one of the traders who trade oil, this is a meeting that you want to watch for with the JMMC. ADP, NFP, we definitely then we have NFP for ADP. That's 7:15 a.m. This is not the actual non-farm employment change. This is just like a predetermining one, if you will. So you want to watch out for that. The 9 a.m. Central Standard Time is Canadian dollar, where we have Canadian rate statements and overnight rates. We also have the Federal Chairman Powell will be testifying, and that's all at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time on Wednesday. Thursday, same thing. We have 9 a.m. Federal Chairman Powell will be testifying. There's PMI services on at the same time at 9. 10:30 a.m. we have Governor Macklin speaking, and on Friday, that is when we finally have average hourly earnings month to month and non-farm employment change, basically NFP and unemployment rate. So now that I've gotten that out the way, let's go ahead and look at these charts. Okay, so DXY, as you guys can see on to the left, I have some notes for the like the top pairs that, like, just some notes that I have written on there for you guys. But DXY, last week, this very big candle that we had moved to the upside ended up coming to a zone where I was previously watching for price to come back into. I've had this marked up here for weeks now with this same Fibonacci going from the low of from the high of 103.038 to the low of 89.250. I wanted price to retrace back into this zone right here, and price, I don't want to consider this to be that price hit that, so I'm going to scoot that up a little bit because price came very close to that 61.8. I feel like, let me actually see what it closed at, or the high was 97.735, and then you guys can see that the 61.8 Fibonacci level on the weekly time frame is 97.771. So that is making me really assume and be like, yo, what is, hold on, give me a second, I gotta make sure that I have the chat up here real quick. Okay, cool. Oops, I'm tripping actually. But I was trying to make sure that, and guys, if you guys have any questions, don't be afraid to unmute yourself to ask. Like right now, I can't look at the chat box, but just let me know. That's something that I'll be figuring out in the future. Sorry for that whole distortion that just happened. But like I was mentioning, right? I was saying that, hey, with the US dollar, the way how it looks, this can be a potential fake out to the upside, real life. Now, yes, I do understand that there is the tension between the Ukraine and Russia, right? I understand that 100%, and I'm not trying to say that that is not what caused this, but I'm not trying to jump the boat. And, you know, like I said, just based off of seeing that weekly candle, the way how it closed, it made me really think, is this going to be a fake out? Because ultimately, when you go and look at the line chart, price never got up here, according to a line chart, right? Price never even reached up here. But we do know, again, the high, because we only have the open and the close. Or usually, like when you go over it, on these pairs, they don't tell you the open and the close. They just tell you, oh, this is what price closed at on this day when it comes to the line chart. But of course, when you add candlesticks, that's when you get, okay, this is where price went up momentarily, but it ended up not closing up there. So again, like when I pay attention to that on the weekly, I'm like, okay, that weekly closed very bearish. However, there were gaps in the market to the upside. I'll show you guys what I mean. When I go over to the DXY, this is where the market ended up opening at 97.248. So the market ended up opening up here, all the way up here. So all from between, because this is where the market closed at, to all the way up here. That's what the market was moving over the weekend, where there was no trading going on, right? And that happens because there is just, like, again, that can be due to the economic news that's going on in the market. I mean, that's going on in the world with the whole Ukraine and the Russian thing. It could be just that's where the market was going to move towards the direction regardless, because of all the potential news that's coming out this week. There can be a lot of reasons for this gap in the market. There's not any clear-cut reason, and if somebody tells you that, I suggest to call them out. I'm just like, don't call them out, but you know, you just want to be careful with where you're getting your information from. But yeah, there's no clear-cutter reason as to why the market gapped to the upside. But again, like I was saying, with the market opening with a gap like this, more than likely price is going to end up coming back into this pricing, and then it'll continue the movement that it was going to make, because this is all trading that has not happened in the market. You know, there are some people, and I mean, even I'm included in this, there are some people who believe that, you know, every single gap in the market ends up closing, whether if it happens that same day, that same week, that same month, that same year, every gap in the market ends up getting closed eventually, no matter how long it takes, right? So this is a gap in the market that I'm definitely going to be watching for it to close up before I make any decisions in the market. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to see how that plays out. I mean, from what I'm seeing, it's probably just going to head towards there pretty shortly. But again, I'm not going to necessarily try to play that market. And what I was even potentially looking at last week was, I was saying that, hey, if DXY ends up pushing to, if the DXY ends up pushing to 97.391 next week, which when I say next week, I'm referring to today. When I see that the DXY is up over here, I want for price to, or from down here, I want price to push to the upside, come up to 97.391, and that would be a risky play for me to be looking for sells in the market. Now that the market has gapped like how it has, I don't necessarily want to play this, because for all I know, what could have potentially happened out during the weekend was that price, although there was no trading going on, but the market pushed to the upside. We cannot deny that, because the market opened to the upside, not to the downside. And it could have very well came into the range of 97.391 or 97.483 And that was all going on when there was no activity in the market, like when there's no buying or selling. Nobody was buying or selling. So when I see stuff like this in the market open up like this, it makes me question my setup that I have. It makes me be like, do you really want to take this, or at this point do you want to just wait for like better confluences? Because this is a whole lot of trading. You know, when you really look at it from the 30-minute time frame, from 5 a.m. on Friday on the 25th, from 5 a.m. to 4 p.m. on the 27th, that's how long it took price from up here to down here. So you know what I'm saying? That's a lot of trading to have happen. So I gotta definitely wait and see what this market is gonna look like before I make any decisions to play on the DXY. But overall, I feel like personally this could have been, like I said, on the weekly time frame, this could have been a fake out. You know, I really do think that, hey, this could have been a fake out to the market, making people believe that the DXY or the dollar is going to gain value. But with the whole Ukraine thing going on, the whole Russia and Ukraine thing going on, SWIFT saying that they're not going to be, they're going to be withholding a lot of Russia's money and stuff like that. It makes me, I don't know. I don't want to get into conspiracy theory mode in here. Like, I leave that for chat rooms when it's warranted, if you will. But I'm gonna go ahead and just watch what the DXY does. Those who are in next wave and those who are with DeFi domination, they'll see if I play anything when it comes to the DXY. Of course arbitrage users. Let me actually go onto arbitrage and see what it's talking about. But other than that, weekly time frame, we talk about this every week. This has been extremely bullish. It's been extremely bullish. Then we have the DXY over here. DXY, it called for buys and price was above the RSI line all of last week. So that was another reason why I wasn't looking for necessarily any type of bearish sentiments on the DXY last week. Like, I was saying that, I think the dollar is going to go bullish, and that everything, if you're trading Euro USD, Gdp USD, whatever, those are going to fall. So 4-hour time frame, same thing, extremely bullish. 1-hour time frame, I'm pretty sure with that gap, I don't even want to trade it. With that gap, I can't necessarily trust this data. I can't trust this information, because as much as, right here, it called for the sell. No matter what, I would have still needed a retracement and then a continuation before I try to get into any type of plays with using the arbitrage bands. And with that gap in the market, I don't know how high the market went up before it came to that price at 97.249 to open. I don't know all what's happened, so it makes me skeptical, So we'll see what goes on with Euro USD throughout the week, but I'm not here for it. You know what I'm saying? All right, so Euro USD. Let's take a look at Euro USD. Euro USD, man, I'm so glad that I didn't play this move right here. So last week, just to give a quick breakdown of what I was looking at last week before I continue, but last week I was saying that, hey, I see that price had made this drop and then pushed to the upside, although it made equal highs. It did, make a bullish move to the upside, and it even came up above these equal highs momentarily before it started to make a retracement. I was saying that I wanted to see what the market was. Definitely wanted to see what the 71% Fibonacci was going to look like when the market got there. And when the market did get there, I was not in favor of looking for any type of buy opportunities on Euro USD. I saw the alert, I wasn't interested. I'm glad I wasn't, because it would have just been a very quick L, a very fast L at that. So let's go ahead and actually get all of this up out of here real quick. So delete that, delete that, delete that. And swing traders, Euro USD is giving us opportunity right now. real life, for those who are down to trade longer time frames, Euro USD is giving us an opportunity. I'll explain why very shortly, but first and foremost, gap as well. You know, Euro USD and Euro USD and the DXY, they are basically 99% inversely correlated, right? Whenever the DXY is going to make, let's just say for example, a lower low, especially on the higher time frames, the DXY is going to go and make higher highs. You know what I'm saying? And I can show you guys that via compare symbol. Let me go on to the DXY, and you guys see that these guys are doing the exact opposite. You know, when this is going up, this is going down. When this is going up, this is going down. As price is moving to the downside, price is moving to the upside with that DXY, so on and so forth. So with that being said, since there you go. I need this 50 EMA up as well. I don't know why I didn't have that on. So since I am saying that, hey, the DXY, it's a fake out to the upside. Maybe it can go bearish. Maybe it can sell. You know, is the Euro USD gonna go bullish now? Is Euro USD gonna start going bullish? I've been, you know, on my weekly analysis in the past, I have said multiple times that, yo, from 1.06433 to 1.123533, you know, realistically speaking, this is a Fibonacci level, that this is a zone in general that we can be paying attention to on Euro USD, right? It had, like a couple weeks ago, it came and it had came over here to 1.11400 before going bullish, and I was saying, oh man, I didn't get an opportunity to get into the market. You know, I wanted to get into a swing at this area, even if it wasn't at 1.11400, just in this area close to the 71% is what I was really looking for. And I was saying, hey, you know, with that retracement play that I was just talking about, that's where I was like, all right, you know, maybe this is where I'm gonna wait for that retracement before I look to get into a swing play. And what I mean by that swing play is in, like, you know, if I'm gonna have a stop loss, my stop loss is not gonna be no 100 pip or 200 pip stop loss off of a play like this. Well, I mean, for the swing, you know, for the big move, but this is on the weekly time frame, and I don't know how many of y'all, even if myself, has the patience to hold a trade for 5 to 7 months. You know, the longest I've held a trade for was 3 months, and even that was, no, I've held a trade way longer than 3 months. But a regular trade that I was actually constantly monitoring, it definitely was longer than, it was like 3 months, 3.5 months. So, you know, having a 524 pip stop loss on Euro USD is a lot. That's why I said I don't know how many people will be down to hold a swing at that. But again, like I was saying, this is an area, this whole area in general is where I have been looking for Euro USD to go bullish. And with the fake out that I am assuming, because again, I'm not saying that that's what it was, but that's my opinion on it. With the fake out from what I'm seeing with the DXY, I feel like that downwards push that price came and made, technically on the lower time frames, a lower low over here at, what did this candle close? I mean, go to the low at 1.11064. That could be just, you know, a potential fake out to the downside and price starts to go bullish. If that's what it's gonna be, then I'm all here for the bulls on Euro USD. But again, once I start seeing gaps like this, I start to like question the market. I start to be like, okay, what happened during the weekend that made the market gap like this? You know, it's not gonna, this is like, when I see stuff like this, it makes me not want to trade in the market. That there's just all this space. It makes me not want to trade until that gap gets closed up. And then even once the gap gets closed up, it's kind of like, okay, what's gonna happen now? You know, like, do you want to just try to get in right when the gap gets closed on a type of play, or what's up? And so I'm just like, you know, Euro USD, just like with the DXY, I don't necessarily want to play with it right now. But for those swing traders, like I said, this, if you've been wanting to try to get into a swing buy, from when I had talked about it, when did I talk about it? I talked about it over here back in January, like literally a month ago. It's funny, you can't make this up, but like literally about a month ago, when I talked about down here at 1.11400, hey, right now, although yes, price is 40 pips away from that 1.11400. I wasn't even from the jump. I wasn't even intending to get a position at 1.11400. So getting price right here is even better than the entry that I was looking for. But that's if you are willing to like take that risk. You know, again, I'm not saying that last week that was exactly what that was, but in my opinion, that's what it could be. But you have to question, you have to really ask yourself a question, do I want to just jump in the market, especially after the market gap like this? Yeah, I do know that the market can potentially, you know, just start climbing up to the upside. There are people who trade this. Again, there could be, I have no doubt in my mind there's going to be plenty of people who are trying to trade this gap to the upside. But then what happens when the market starts to retrace a little bit before going to close that gap? Or what happens if the market doesn't even close that gap to begin with and it just keeps going to the downside? You know, like there's three different types of scenarios that can happen with your USD. Or what happens if it just consolidates like for the next 24-48 hours? You know, there's four scenarios that can happen with your USD. I don't want to jump into any one of these because with this gap, again, that makes me feel like, okay, I need to put my defenses up type of thing. I don't want to necessarily trade any markets because who knows what happened throughout the weekend that made the markets look like this. So let me go now on over to Euro USD. Let me make sure I ain't got nothing over here. Nope, I'm good. Cool. Okay, so Euro USD on RB. When I go over to the daily time frame, you know, wait, do I have drawings up? Yes, I do. I did not mean to have drawings up. It's all good. So anyways, when I go on over to the weekly time frame, you know, this should not be news to us. The weekly since June of last year, Euro USD has been very bearish, right? Again, it shouldn't be news to us. I talk about this every week. For those who are, you know, for those who watch every week, and I appreciate y'all for those who watch. Euro USD over here, daily time frame, been extreme. It called for the sell on the 23rd, but I was already saying, hey, I didn't like the way how the bands were. They didn't look that great to me, but overall, I felt like this was going to go bearish, especially when price was underneath that RSI line, which, you know, price did push to the downside. On over to the 4-hour time frame, it's been bearish as well. I didn't necessarily want to. Yeah, like I said, Euro USD is definitely a pair that I have not traded in a while. It's only because of the way how, you know, it's been looking in the market and not giving a clear sense of direction. And so, again, same thing. I mean, it's really not. I mean, yeah, it's down at these lows, but if I were to lean to one side, and I know this is good, and not even that it sounds like retail trader logic, but if there was a place that I would be looking to buy Euro USD, it would be here. You know, I wouldn't necessarily look for sells here. Even if price were to break out to the downside below 1.100, I'm not so sure if I'd still be looking for sells. Maybe for a scalp, yeah, for a scalp for sure. But, you know, for a long-term type of play, I can only realistically look for buy opportunities until I see some structure getting broker. Like if I see 1.0600 getting broke, or 1.6200, sorry, getting broke, that's when I'm going to be like, okay, now long-term wise, I'm definitely not going to be bearish. So that's with the Euro USD. Like I really do still feel like, you know, this would be the best bet, honestly, to trade this. Which it's going to take a while, but it's not going to take as long as this swing play would be. I promise you that. Best thing to do, honestly, is wait for price to break through this structure right here. Like this, hold on. This structure is what's really holding Euro USD from trying to make any type of bullish run to the upside. You know, we've already seen it where it's rejected here once, rejected here one time, and then even came back up here again. This is a zone that definitely is something to watch for on the DXY. And even if this gets broken, to me, it's still like, okay, even though you got broken, are you gonna really start making that bullish move? You know, the next structure, of course, after this to watch for would be this. And then once this gets broken, that's when I'd be like, okay, yeah, now we're definitely like, this is going to the upside, you know? So a play that, like I said, I'd rather wait for, if you want to be safe, would be wait for the breakout of this structure, that retracement, and then continuation to the upside. That would be truly retracement and then push to the upside. That is what would truly be the safest way on how to try to play this Euro USD, you know, and that's waiting for days, maybe even a couple of weeks to pass by so that you can see that, okay, yes, this is going to go bullish, rather than assuming that it's just going to go bullish right here, right now, you know. So that's what I have on Euro USD. Just going to go ahead now on over to AUD USD. By the way, guys, USD Mexican peso, it is off my watch list. You know, the reason why is because I definitely want to trade less pairs. I don't want to have so many pairs to look through. You know, gold is probably, out of this list that you see right here, gold will be probably what comes next up. I only look at it mostly because it's just a fan. It's just like not a fan favorite, but that's what a lot of people love. And you know, gold is definitely a commodity that is utilized very well. So, all right, AUD USD. Same thing with Euro. Not even basically the same thing as Euro USD. Like AUD USD, I saw all this going on, and I was like, hey, I want to see 0.70500 before I even remotely think about trying to get into a buy on AUD USD. And you know, that never happened. My alert never went off, and price, you know, ended up going a little bit more bullish despite all that. And I'm just like, hey, I'm glad I haven't been trading AUD USD, because it would have just been giving me headaches. You know, personally. But I mean, I kind of still don't have a certain bias towards AUD USD. You know, at the end of the day, I would only want to still get into a buy down here at down here at these lows. I mean, even where I have the alert at, I can still put it back there. Actually, I am. Like 0.77500 doesn't look that terrible. Oh, that's not news. It doesn't look that terrible for me for any type of buy opportunities when it comes to all the Australian dollar, AUD USD. Now, in fact, when I really think about it, scratch what I said about gold, about it might be the next pair that goes on my do not trade list. It might be AUD USD, but that's a talk for me to me in another day. But yeah, weekly time frame on AUD USD, it doesn't look the greatest candlestick formation wise. I'm not really seeing necessarily any type of formations that I would try to buy AUD USD at, but I would definitely look. I'm definitely looking more for buys on AU than sells. That's just especially when I'm looking at the DXY where it's currently at. But it's just, again, AUD USD is just a pair that I'm not liking I don't like how it moves a lot of the time, you know. Go on to the daily time frame. Yeah, price that came up to this zone, rejected off of it, pushed to the downside. And this is one of those zones I was saying, hey, if price does break out of this zone to the upside, then I'll look for buys after it makes a retracement and stuff like that. But off of the daily like this, off of seeing this daily candlestick and then a bearish engulfing candle right after, and then the way how it looks like that, this makes me feel like AUD USD might end up pushing to the downside. And I don't necessarily want to play this. I don't necessarily want to play AUD USD, you know? If it was up here, and I don't even know how I would play this, you know? Because I see so many different things that are wrong. Or not even wrong. I just see a whole different consolidating choppiness. Like, you know, there's not really any clear-cut direction where this is going. Yeah, it's in between this blue zone and this red zone, but other than that, it's pretty choppy, you know? So I don't necessarily want to play it, but if I were to play it, regardless, 0.7500 is where I'm looking for any type of bullish moves. You know, if I don't get that, then I ain't with it. So let's go ahead and go on over here to AUD USD on the arbitrage. Probably the only thing that could get me an entry on this, and even with that, weekly time frame, you know, it's setting up for a potential buy, but overall I would have to wait for a breakout, retest, and continuation before I even try to play something like that. Daily time frame, same thing, and it's the same thing that I said like on here, right? Wait for this breakout of this zone, then the retracement, and then look for a buy. You know, it's the same thing for both on arbitrage and on technical analysis. Now I do like seeing that it is calling for a buy on the daily time frame, but this has been consolidating, so that doesn't necessarily mean anything to me. When the bands are in a ranging market, I do not like to play with them necessarily that much. 4-hour time frame, same thing. Market is just looking pretty choppy, not giving a very good sense of one direction. And then 1-hour time frame, I couldn't play this because of the gap. So there is that on AUD USD. Let's go ahead and switch on over to USHEF. Before I continue, is there any questions, comments, or concerns from those who are on the Zoom call? This smacked so hard. Okay, no questions? Cool. Let me make sure that. Cool, awesome. Can we look at Bitcoin? Of course, we're gonna. Of course. Bitcoin is babe. We're definitely gonna look at Bitcoin. That's gonna be 1, 2, 3 more pairs. 3 more pairs I'm gonna take a look at. So 15 more minutes basically before I take a look at Bitcoin. So stay tuned and stay tight. Awesome. All right, so USHEF. Ooh, let me go ahead and do this right now. There you go. So USHEF, choppiness. How many weeks have we had USHEF in this little box? Here, let me even make this a box rather than how it looks right now. How many weeks have we had USHEF in this box? This is from when prices entered in here in June of 2021. We've just had price consolidating in the zone, going up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And, you know, again, it's kind of like how the rest of the other USD pairs are looking. I need a breakout on one side before I really decide to trade anything on USHEF at this point. Every other pair, any other setup that I have seen on USHEF was literally only for the purpose of, oh, this is going to be, this is just, you know, a scalp. I'm not gonna play it anything long term because this is a swinger's nightmare. This is a swinger's nightmare unless you're trading from the highs to the lows. This is a swinger's worst nightmare. I wouldn't be able to play off of this. Like, I've played off of this zone way too many times to now have confidence in any type of buy or sell that I may get into for a swing type of play. The only thing I could play off of this is, you know, scalping, like I said. So going over to the 4-hour. Let me just stay on the 4-hour because there's no point in me going to the lower time frames. Right now, you know, we have this zone right here. Let me change the color of it. There's this zone that UChef is currently rejecting off of on the 4-hour time frame, and price can definitely hold at this level and continue pushing to the downside. In fact, that's kind of what I want to happen. Not even kind of, that is what I want to happen. As we can see here on UChef, let me go into the 1-hour time frame so you guys can see it. There was also a gap, but the gap it wasn't that much, you know what I'm saying? So this is actually, I don't think there was a gap, but let me see. The close at 4 o'clock on Friday, the close at 4 o'clock on Friday was at 0.92545. The open today at 4 p.m. was at 0.92658. So there was definitely a gap in the market, but it seems to me that the gap has been closed with these wicks. If we go into the lower time frames, you will see, yes, the gaps have definitely been closed. So, yeah, I mean, UChef, and I don't want to sound like somebody who just a broken record. But at this point, if you're going to be playing UChef, you want to buy when it's high and sell when it's low, you know, and your stop loss will eventually get hit on either way. But if you sell right here, your stop loss would have to be above this wick, and if you buy over here, your stop loss would have to be underneath these wicks. Eventually, one of those two would eventually get taken out. But hey, again, if you want to play in the raging market, by all means. But UChef, I mean, up here, it's how many pips? It's how many pips until price gets up there? Like 107 pips. So that's a pretty big move for UChef. But again, I'm not interested in trying to play this. Like, I see the ugly fib because, I mean, price did drop, retrace up to the 71 and then fell. I also see this right here. No, I don't like it. Like, I just feel like, hey, price is gonna fall. Right here is a good buy to sell it, and if you're gonna sell it, then good luck with that, you know? I don't want to give, like, again, there's just a whole bunch of choppiness right here. Consolidating. It's kind of like AUD USD. Like, you see that it can go one way, possibly, but do you really want to play it? Although this looks better to me than UChef, but I don't necessarily want to. No, I wouldn't play anything off of UChef at this point in time. I'd have to wait a lot longer. So UChef on arbitrage above the upper danger zone. This is what this is, that upper danger zone. So that I'm thinking that price, like, I treat the upper danger zone as a resistance when price is underneath it. So if price is above it, then I treat it as a support, right? It's just like with regular technical analysis. Same thing on the daily time frame. We have price above the RSI line. I feel like it's going to go bullish, but I'm not going to play off of it. 4-hour time frame. It's been bullish. It's above the RSI, the upper danger zone. Again, another instance where I'm like, I don't necessarily want to trade it. And then look at the 1 hour. You know, 1 hour, same thing. It's above, but it looks semi decent. You know, UChef would probably be the only thing on arbitrage so far, which is so hilarious, that I would play in. It'd probably have to be something like this: breakout, retest, continuation. If that happens, I might look for a play off of UChef. You know, that would probably, as of right now, that's the only thing that I'm seeing. Well, I mean, there's pairs that I'm looking at, and it's funny that you mentioned Bitcoin as one of them, because Bitcoin is one of the pairs I'm looking at for a possible trade. But yeah, UChef, I'm definitely not with it at this point in time. Although, like I said, on the lower time frames, if I were to get into a trade for UChef, it'd be a sell. It'd be now, if you will, I guess, and it'd have to be, my stop loss would have to be above where price made this previous high up here. So at 0.93500. But take that risk if you are willing to. You know, same thing with arbitrage. I mean, arbitrage, I have, hey, if I get the breakout to the downside, I'll wait for that retracement and then I'll get in, you know, rather than getting in at current price. And that just is going to be how many pip difference? A 10 pip difference, I could live with that. So I'd rather wait for that little breakout right there on USHF. All right, take a look at Goldilocks, and same thing with gold here. Like I didn't write it down on my little overlay that I have, but I was saying that, hey, did gold make a fake out to the upside like a boss? Because that's all I could really think about at this point. Like I don't know how true or how false this volume is at this point, because when I look at different brokers, let's take a look at it. When I go to different brokers, the volume looks completely different everywhere else, right? If I go, I'll pay attention. I'll look at that later. If I go on to a different one, you'll see, or this is even, it only has a lot of volume up over here. When I go on to a different broker, there is no volume on this to begin with. When I go on to different broker, this doesn't have any volume to begin with. So it's kind of like, at this point, I'm not really, same thing with here. I'm not really necessarily too crazy over paying attention to the volume at this point. However, this weekly candlestick, I don't know, man. It just makes me think that this only stopped out to the upside, because there are these equal highs at this zone that it did go in clear right above, and then it's showing a shooting star on the weekly time frame. The last time I saw a long wick like this anywhere on gold, where is it? Where's my arrow? Look what ended up happening. Price ended up pushing a little bit to the downside and then going to the upside. Better looking hammer right here, but look, long wick to the downside, push to the upside. Long wick to the upside, push to the downside. You know, I don't know. I don't want to say that yes, that this is for sure gonna fall to the down. I don't want to say gold is for sure gonna fall, especially with it's funny, one of my students, he had told me that, he was doing for his, because he still goes to school, right? He was doing a paper for his accounting class. I'm not sure if it's accounting or economics. I doubt it's economics. But he was saying that there's apparently that I think 40% of those who are Ukraine or in the Ukraine, they've been switching their fiat currency to gold, which could have been a possible reason why, you know, gold pushed to the upside like this. And it's to protect their money, because gold is a safe haven. You know, it's been a safe haven for so long. So this can still potentially go bullish, like I said. But however, man, like I said, the way how this happened in one day and price came right back down. I mean, even with the volume at current prices, again, if this volume is real, then that's wild. But it would really suck to think that I'm not even going to say if what my student said was true, because I take his word for it. He does research and everything like that, and he's a very fire trader at that. But no, what am I doing? Why am I drawing this zone over here? But I mean, it would really suck. Personally, I would think that it would really suck that the people of Ukraine put their money in gold only for it to do this fake out, and then in 3-4 months from now, we're gonna see price be at 1700 or 1730. You know, I would genuinely hate that. So at this point in time, I mean, overall, I needed this structure right here to get broken through on, any time frame, really. And it never did. On the 4 hour, it didn't break through or anything like that. So I'm kind of still bullish. Question mark? No, I'm not really bullish on gold, but I gotta see some work. Like, this is what I was looking for. Although on some brokers this looks like a gap, I gotta see what this looks like before I try to make any other opinion on gold. I gotta see it move up to 1947 or even 1954, then break out to the downside. Once it does that, then I could be like, okay, yes, now I'm starting to look for bears. But until this happens, I am not going to necessarily be looking for sells on gold. So that's the play I'm looking for on Sir Goldilocks. 1 hour time frame. Very much not a pair that I would trade on on that time frame. The 4 hour, I mean, if price comes and closes over here at 1905, I don't know, man. It might be interesting to take a look at. You know what I'm saying? But overall, I gotta be patient and wait to see what gold does. Like after that big move, that big fake out to the upside, or not fake out. I don't want to say it's a fake out because it might just been that, oh, this is where a whole bunch of people decided to take profits from, or this is where a whole bunch of people wanted to sell their gold. You know, maybe there's a whole bunch of people who sold their gold only to go and put it into something else. But overall, you know, very bullish on a whole bunch of different time frames. Like I said, that 4 hour, if price can come back down over here into like 1902, that might be an opportunity to sell. Who knows? But I definitely, that monthly time frame, man, setting up for a sell. That's interesting. I don't ever look at the monthly time frame, but yeah, it's still very much bullish, but there's still possibility for gold to go bearish. But I'm not gonna give that out quite yet. Okay, let's talk about these indices and how I feel like they could possibly be a stop hunt as well. So first of all, let me go ahead and walk through my thoughts on S&P last week, although you guys can just, you know, go to my weekly analysis from last week and take a look at that. But S&P, it had made this bullish move, retraced. I was thinking that it was gonna go bullish from this zone in between 4,366 to 4,304. Price ended up not doing that at all. The price ended up pushing to the downside and making lower lows on the higher time frames, which, I mean, that's cool and everything. Let me go ahead and delete all this. I'm going to delete everything that's on here and leave this big zone because I want you guys to see how I feel like, oops, not that. But I want you guys to see how I feel like this could have been a potential stop hunt as well. You know, are the US indices, like I said right there, are they going to end up popping to the upside? Are they going to end up popping to the upside? Weekly time frame. We had one wick push to the downside like that. Then we had a wick to the downside that's even more than that previous wick. This makes me only believe that if price is going to hold above here, one or two things is going to happen. Either I love that price, well, not love, but the fact that price is underneath the 50 EMA, that's something telling me, hey, these indices, they might continue pushing to the downside, you know, but overall, the amount of volatility that the indices have been showing me does not match up with the amount of volatility that happened over here. That doesn't mean it still can't happen, but, and this was during COVID, by the way, where price was just falling to the downside multiple weeks in a row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks of the S&P being bearish and leaving a wick like that to the downside and then holding at this zone is not a good, it's not, I don't want to say it's not a good look. I don't want to, but it's not necessarily giving me vibes that the S&P is going to push to the downside, right? I still believe that there is a possibility for this to go bullish still, but I am not going to try it, you know. The reason why I'm not going to try it is because it's just too early, you know. I could be patient and wait for, dang, never mind, because I mean this was the previous lower high realistically, and price did break through that. But price, you know, I would rather just realistically wait for even this structure right here getting broken before I look for any type of buys on S&P. That would be much safer than trying to get into a buy right now, or even just trying to get into a sell just because you said, well, I just want to get into the market because I can, you know. On a lot of brokers, probably on everybody and their mama's broker, you know, this looks like there's just a huge gap to the downside over here on the S&P, and that can be very much true, you know. So overall, especially with like this, I'm really trying to find it. 1 minute, like you see that on the 1 minute time frame, this is all just one candle. This is not just all one candle, I promise you that. It's definitely a combination of a whole bunch of things. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so I'm just like, at this point with the S&P, like I said, the best, safest way to wait is wait for price to break above 4,480. Like at this zone that's right here, you want to wait for price to break through this on like the 4-hour time frame and actually close with a candle above 4,400 and this zone in general, this 4,485, if you will, before waiting for a retracement. You know, that's the safest way to play S&P. Wait for the retracement, then buy right here, then push to the upside. Like, you don't necessarily have to buy right here, right now, because if price does this and it retraces, it's just gonna come back to where you thought of buying right here, right now. You know what I'm saying? So this is the safest way on how to go with the S&P. However, for those who follow us on social media, like, you know that Peyton, he had given his opinion on how he felt with the S&P, and that kind of hit hard. Like, you know, it fell, pushed to the downside. It didn't reach his target, if I'm not mistaken. I have to go back and check, but the play was pretty solid. Like, you know, it did make that move to the downside. So we'll see what really goes down with these indices, because I'm pretty interested to see what goes on. If I want to see if they really faked out to the downside, because if they did, that's gonna be fun. It's gonna be huge and it's gonna be funny. But I don't know. I don't necessarily like giving this comparison or like doing this correlation, but when the dollar is usually bullish, as in is like, yeah, when the dollar is usually bullish, then the US indices will be giving short-term bearish moves. Now, reason why I said short-term bearish moves is because, and this is something that I'm barely about to find out today, but according to how I see the markets, whenever, like I said, on the lower time frames, yeah, when the DXY is going bullish, then the US indices are going to drop. But we see over here, we're just seeing like, it's more of a flat line than anything. And then we see right here, price on the S&P is going bullish, and slowly but surely, so is the DXY. You know, it made peaks right here, and, you know, down over here, so is the DXY. But then when price began to start falling, DXY started pushing up to even higher points, you know what I'm saying? Whereas at these lows over here, and the DXY is at the highs. So it's like, lower time frames, yeah, I can agree with that statement that, oh, usually when, I feel like usually when the DXY is going, I don't like when the DXY is going bullish, I don't like to say that, oh, the US indices are probably going to go bearish. But as of late, that is what's been happening. You know, there was a gap on the DXY to where? The upside. And there's a gap on the S&P where? To the downside. Short time frame correlation, right? But anyways, like I said, I don't necessarily like giving that correlation, because it's not so accurate when you start zooming out and going on the higher time frames. Arbitrage, 4-hour time frame. You know, this is something that I was not even paying any type of remote attention to until right now. You know, like I don't usually look at the markets until Sunday after the market closes on Friday. The only thing I would look at is the cryptos, and even with that, it's like it's a little iffy. But oh, I forgot, I have a Zoom meeting in like 3 minutes. So, anyways, or is it 3 minutes or 30 minutes? I think it's 3. But anyways, S&P, I was saying that, yo, like, I want, if anything, I'd probably want price to come down to 4,170 before going bullish, and that's only because of my fibs, if I'm not mistaken. You know, when you've drawn a million of these, you know exactly where it's gonna end up landing in your favor. So yeah, down over here, it's a possibility where price can come into before going bullish. But as of right now, 4-hour arbitrage, only the level pro is giving you the green light for a buy. I'm not gonna just base my whole 1% or 2% of whatever I'm risking in a trade just for one single indication of a possible buy. You know, I'm not going to. But if you go into the 1-hour time frame, it looks a lot better. You know, the RSI line has been retested. But again, it's just for me as of right now. I mean, everything right here on the 1 hour looks good for a buy. But I'm going to just wait for the market, especially with how the market opened on this Sunday. Sundays, I usually say that I don't care what day it is to trade. As long as I see a setup, I'm going to take it. But especially with the way how the market's opened with gaps, I'd rather wait this week. And so Dow Jones, very much similar. I remember this trade, I had taken it. It was an L. You know, it is what it is, 962 points or 1% of your account, whatever you were risking. It happens. That's why risk management is important. So get rid of that. And I'm going to get rid of all the drawings. And it's kind of the same thing with Dow Jones. You know, going to the weekly time frame, this wick to the upside only looks like it was a fake out. When I draw the zone, it'll look a lot more clearer that it looks like a fake out. Right? That, oh, price just wanted to take out these lows that price has not been down to ever since, you know, March of 2021. And now the possibility of it going bullish, it does exist. But again, do you want to take that risk right now when price has been so bearish? And it's only been, dang. You see, I can't see stuff like this and continue talking mess as if price is gonna, like, I think that price is gonna go bullish. This right here, morning star right here. No, let me not do that. Let me just get a pen. Morning star pattern, bearish candle. Although this is not a doji, very large wick to the downside. And then a bullish engulfing candle right after. I can't see stuff like that and not think that some pairs are going to go bullish. But that's price action wise, you know. Price action doesn't always tell you the truth, but it does still tell a story. So, love seeing the bullish move. Although price came to these equal highs, this makes me not want to get into the buy, even if price retraces. So, I don't like that price didn't break through this structure necessarily. This structure right here, I don't like that price didn't break through it. Let me go ahead and change this to a different color. So, you know, I would have definitely rather have said, hey, I want this to break, then get the retracement, then continuation to the upside. That's what I would have loved to have told you guys. But as of right now, I'm going to wait. I still want this to break for sure, but I'm not telling you to get into a buy. 1 hour time frame on arbitrage. Yeah, I gotta speed through this if I'm not mistaken. Let me see, hold on. Yeah, I don't think so. Well, I'll keep going, and then if I get the link, then I'll let y'all know, and I gotta go. So, yeah, US 30. Why am I on the 30-minute? 4-hour time frame. Same thing as with S&P. The only thing that is going in favor of buys at this point in time for the 4-hour time frame, and this is probably the only time frame I'm gonna play off of on US 30 right now, is the level pro is still above ground zero, and even that, it's barely above it. So yeah, I'm not gonna necessarily try to get into US 30 as of yet. You know, I could wait. Patience is key in these things. Bitty Bitcoin, everyone's favorite crypto. No, I'm joking. It's not everyone's favorite crypto, because it's definitely not my favorite, but it is my favorite crypto to trade. So Bitcoin, you know, those who are on DeFi domination, or you know, those who are on Next Wave, and we talk about it on a regular basis in the chats. You know, I was saying that, hey, this zone off of 35,000, I needed to hold on Bitcoin in order for me to feel still pretty bullish or pretty optimistic about the bulls to the upside. You know, we got that. My stop loss got hit at break even with my entry that I had previously gotten over here at like around 36,000. And I'm like, you know what? I'm okay. I can wait for it, because I do like this wick that we had on the daily time frame. Let me go ahead and actually remove this. I'll talk about it once we get there. I'm leaving those two zones there. Let's go into the weekly time frame. Oh yeah, this is when I was going through my rant, for those who remember, on Pip Sip and Jammas. But weekly time frame, it doesn't look that bad. Doesn't look that terrible. Quite honestly, I'm not a fan at all with this huge candle before that, but it's not that bad for a weekly candle. The monthly, on the other hand, is what scares me. You know, and so we still have a whole 24 hours left for this monthly candle. So let me go ahead and break it down to y'all in the lower time frame, so we can see what, you know, if Bitcoin is going to be in our favor. Can we get an opportunity with it? I still do want this bullish move to happen. Until, I'm going to say this again, I feel like I'm a broken record, but until 32,000 gets broken on Bitcoin, I'm still going to remain bullish on it. You can do with that information whatever you would please, right? So 1 hour time frame, I was saying, hey, I do like this bullish impulsive move that price made to the upside. You know, it made a very nice move, came up to 40,000. I don't like how on the daily time frame, or even on the 4 hour time frame, I'm not a huge fan that price did not close at 40,000 once, or above $40,000 once. Those are not signs to tell me that yes, this is going to continue going bullish. It's just not. However, I still remain optimistic, because I look at both sides of the coin. So, only thing now that I'm looking for at this point on Bitcoin for a possible buy opportunity to get back in is over here at 36,090. I'm putting my alerts over here at the 61.8 Fibonacci level to prepare me for that. You know, that's an area where I'm looking to get back into 36,000. It's a good area, and if that holds, again, to the upside we go. Well, not again, but to the upside we go. You know, 44,000 would be a very much high possibility in the very near future. But again, just based off of the lower time frames, I don't like the looks of it. But I'm not basing my whole analysis, I'm not basing my opinion on just one factor, you know. So this is a play possibility. When the price gets there, that's when I'll make my decision on if I'm going to be getting in or not. But again, just to double back onto it, if the market does go bullish, then I do expect I do expect price to hit 52,000, but overall 56,000, 55,000 on Bitcoin, if and when it gets up here, is an area where I'm going to be saying that, hey, we have to watch here, because this is where there's a lot of supply right here. I mean, this is where a lot of supply had kicked in the past, and we have to watch and make sure that price does not reject off of this just to end up going bearish longer term, right? I'm still having this. I'm still having this same box covered up, and if for those who do not know why, I encourage you to go and watch my previous weekly analysis, whether if it's last week or the week before that, or the week before that, or the week before that. Ethereum, same thing. I want to get this pushing, because again, I don't know if I have this Zoom meeting very shortly or not, but same thing with Ethereum. I basically still feel like, yes, it still can go bullish. It just needs to, break through some pretty good structures. Compared to Bitcoin, Ethereum has showed better breaking of structure, in my opinion. So back over here at 2,494 or even 2,500, I feel like is a good opportunity or a good area to look for buy opportunities on Ethereum. And again, I feel like I don't want to repeat myself. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I still, like I said, I feel like Ethereum looks better for breaking smaller time frame structures than Bitcoin does. So we'll see what these look like. I'm gonna have my alert set. More than likely we'll be trading Ethereum more than Bitcoin, but we'll see what goes on with that. So not much to speak on with Ethereum. And again, I don't want to sound like a broken record from what I've talked about for the past 2 to 3 weeks, or even longer than 2 to 3 weeks, but month and a half on my analysis on the cryptos. I feel the same way. And Ripple, I don't even know why it's up here. It has to be down here, because I don't trade Ripple that often as much as I used to trade it in the past. All right, let's go on over to these GBPs. Let me speed by these. All right, so Gdp Usd ended up pushing to the downside. For those who had remembered last week when I said that, hey, I was looking for my buy entry at 1.36400, or a sell entry, sorry, at 1.36400. I got that sell entry. That push to the downside. I had talked about it multiple times. You're looking at GA, GN, awesome. We're gonna take a look and see what those look like for reals. But man, last week you and those GDP pairs, you guys were going crazy, Mike. Man, so, but yeah, at this point, I'm really wanting to see what GU is going to do, because I love the move that it made. Let me just see if I have my trade that I got into over here, into the left, short position. Oh, this was the other position. That's cool. I can delete that. No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Anyways, I like the rejection at the 71%. Price came down to these equal lows. That's cool. Price has been leaving wicks to the downside. Opened up with a gap on the lower time frames. But, after a drop like this, and I've been looking for a sell on GU, I don't necessarily want to try to get into a buy opportunity. Now, for those who are still in the GU sell from on the swing from how many weeks, from 2 weeks ago that I called it, congrats to you, because I definitely, took majority of my profits off of that GU sell. If not, I know for 2 accounts, I definitely took all my profits, because I was like, I'm not trying to hold this any longer. 9 days is enough. But yeah, overall, with this big move, I definitely look for retracements. But with the way how, again, market gapping like this and all that type of stuff, I'm not a big fan, because, and again, this is just from what I was speaking on before. For all I know, this Fibonacci zone that's right here Price could have came all the way down to the 78.6. It's going to push to the upside, all the way to the upside, you know. Price could have ended up coming down over here to like 1.32736 or something like that, making an equal bottom or something like that. Like, I don't want to trade off of gaps of the market. You know, I want the gap to get cleared up first before I make my decision on how I will trade at that time, right? But overall, GU definitely did not give me as much as a fake out vibe as the rest of the USD pairs. However, with that wick, I still have to be careful with it. Like, that's not any type of hoopla of a wick like that, you know. So GU, it was definitely a successful sell opportunity long term. It was an RB play more than anything. You know, price that ended up hitting take profit 3 off of GU. But let me go ahead and clear all this up. Actually, no, I need to keep this up here because I still have, like, you know, the last target that needs to get hit before the trade is complete. But it's basically hit my take profit for arbitrage, at least, because of the way how the band's contracted. All right, closing up to the gap. I like seeing that. I like hearing that. I like hearing that. All right, GP USD. Weekly time frame been very much bearish, right? Daily time frame been very much bearish. Nice, nice. GU 4 hour, very much bearish still, and 1 hour time frame. I wouldn't try to get into this buy, especially since price is underneath of the RSI line, but the bullish opportunity is probably going to be there. It's just because of that gap. You know, like I said, that gap in the market, a lot of people are going to try to trade that, but there might be some people who get wrecked. You know, if you try to buy right here, what happens if the market ends up pushing 90 pips to the downside before going up to close the gap? Well, closing up the gap would be right here, but still, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I'm not necessarily a big fan of trading gaps. So overall, GU's definitely been moving toward the downside like how I've been wanting it to, but now I've got to be patient and see what the market is going to do next. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and move along, go over to Gdp Jpy. Same thing with GJ. Hold on, first of all, I want to see what I drew this. Okay, never mind. It never. Oh yeah, never mind. That was a play that I was looking for that never played out. But yeah, GJ. So for those who remember my analysis from 3 weeks ago, I think it was, I had mentioned that GJ. Hey, I like the sells opportunity. I like the sell opportunities on GJ, but I don't want to trade it because it's been so ridiculously bullish, right? If you go onto the daily time frame, you see that it's made a basically a triple top up at this zone right here. And I've been saying that even despite the daily, if you look at the weekly time frame, price has just been extremely bullish. So I was saying that, hey, at this point in time, what I really want to see is, and I'll actually go in replay mode to replay it out. I was saying, hey, at this point, from this low to this high, from this high to this low, price to retrace up to 157.251, and then maybe I would think about trying to get into I'll get into a sell. I want to see price climb up there and then break out of this zone before I then try to get into a sell, right? And so, wait, a couple hours later, or not a couple hours, a lot of hours later, price ended up hitting said pricing and made its way to the downside. And so now I'm like, all right, cool, you've made that bearish push. That's awesome. That's exactly what I wanted to see. Now I'm waiting for this retracement for this swing for me to get into a sell. out of everything that I have talked about today, I feel like this is one of the more clearer pairs for me. Out of almost everything that I talked about, this is one of the more clearer pairs that I know I'm going to be more than likely taking this trade this week. So that is that for GJ. You know, I said that I wanted to see one thing. That one thing happened. Now I want to see this next thing happen before I look for any type of sells. And it's more of a confirmation for me now. 4 hour time frame called for the sells, but I wasn't interested. Daily time frame finally had price break underneath that RSI line, but now I kind of need a retracement to that RSI line, which is going to line up perfectly with my fibs. And then that weekly time frame has just been ridiculously bullish, so don't want to look at that weekly for sure. And just like with Gdp Jpy, just like with Gdp USD, Gdp Jpy, I don't necessarily want to like trade with this gap here. I want to wait for the gap to get filled up, and then I can make my decision on what I would do. But more than likely, price is going to go bullish. Just my opinion. But I'm not going to try to play it quite yet because, again, gaps in the market. But I do like the bullish move to the upside. Last but not least, let's take a look at Euro GBP. And before I continue, is there any pairs, before I go on with Euro GBP, for those both on the Zoom and on YouTube, is there any pairs that you guys want me to take a look at before I hop off? So now that I got that over with, Euro GBP, we had a solid buy stop play from Pips and Pajamas on Wednesday. Price moved up to 51 pips, but then price came all the way back to entry with those gaps in the market. So this trade is now it's done. Price came back to our entry point, which our stop loss was there, and like I said, now it's just the market. That trade is complete. But overall, Euro GBP, I want to see some bullish price action on this weekly time frame. The weekly did close pretty nicely last week. Did it close better than it did the previous week? Absolutely. Price chased the wick like how I wanted it to, and price ended up going a lot more bullish than I thought it was going to go. But with the way how the market just opened up with a gap like this to the downside, it makes me think, okay, Euro GBP, are you going to go bullish or not? What's going on? I still want this to move to the upside, but at this point, since I'm no longer in the trade, I kind of have to just wait and see what it does. I feel like it is going to go bullish, just like how I mentioned the first time Euro GBP stopped us at a break even, that I said I felt like it's still going to go bullish. This still has that opportunity, but I'm not going to take that chance at this point, because it's just been so, Euro GBP in general has just been so choppy and bearish overall that still keep trying to buy it down at these lows. It's as much beneficial as it can be, it can also be very dangerous. So that's why I'm just more like, let's go ahead and let you live and let you be. I'm not going to necessarily try to play that. But Euro GBP on arbitrage, it did call for the 4 hour buy, and that was another reason why I had called it. Because I'm like, hey, 4 hour buys, they don't look that terrible. But price is currently just right at that RSI line. I don't necessarily want to touch this daily time frame for the buys, although I want it more than, this is the 4 hour, I'm sorry. The 4 hour called for, this is the 4 hour buys that I was looking at. But the daily, it kind of looks like it can go bullish, but it kind of looks like it could just reject and push to the downside again as well. So again, Euro GBP is one of those pairs. I'm just, after big moves that happened last week, it's kind of hard for me to trade after that for a couple of days, especially when the market leaves gaps like this. It makes it even more harder for me to want to trade. So I just have to be patient, I just really have to be patient with the market, see what it gives me, and whatever it gives me, that's what I'll take a look at. But other than that, is there any other pairs that anybody wants me to take a look at? I didn't talk much about Euro GBPs because I don't have much to say about it. Alright guys, nothing? Alright, well sounds good. I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all go. And let's get this money, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed, and